What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's early October, which means it's camp out season for us here in California. There's all kinds of little campouts that are popping up all over the place, but the one I never miss is Biltwell's Kernville Kampout. That one is the party of the year, in my opinion. I only missed one since we started doing that, and that was for Josh and Samantha's wedding, so that's how you know you guys are important to me. This isn't the most weight conscious setup at all. I would say it's like a luxury setup. You know, I like to be comfortable, and the more comfortable I can be while I'm sitting in the woods and having a great time, then the better it is. Let's get a couple things out of the way. This is Kernville Kampout. This is not going to a campsite in the woods where you're kind of secluded, you're off on your own. You're in town. They have food vendors there. They have plenty of beverages. There's going to be beer included with your purchase price, alcohol, pretty much whatever you want is within walking distance. There's multiple grocery stores, multiple restaurants. There's even a hardware store. You're basically at a giant party and you're just sleeping on the ground for this. I don't really want to be roughing it while I'm at a motorcycle camp out. I want to be as comfortable as possible. So that's the driving force behind this whole setup. So we're going to start with suspension. If you have adjustable suspension, you should adjust it for the additional weight of whatever cargo, camping gear, whatever you're going to carry. On the 24 Road Glide, you have your lock ring. This will be all the way run down on top of there, locking it in. You're going to bring this all the way up to the top, and that's where you're going to get your measurement from. In the owner's manual, it'll tell you what distance you need to be for rider weight, passenger weight, cargo weight, all of those things. I know roughly about what my setup is going to weigh. I'm also going to be putting my tour pack on for this trip. So just the tour pack alone calls for 15 millimeters of additional clearance between here. So that brings me, with my weight and everything else, to 26 millimeters. So I got a little spinning to do. I'd recommend not grabbing too much. Don't be coming over here, because this little wrench that they provide you with, well, it's cool they provide it to you, it slips off really easily. See? So basically it's just hooking in there and you're giving it a twist. All right, so that's about 26 millimeters a distance in there. You're going to run your lock ring back down and snug that thing into place. That's it for that side. All right, so that brings us to the hydraulic preload adjuster. Have your numbers right there. So for your cargo weight, this is where you're going to account for that weight. So 2 clicks on here is 1 turn. So for the weight of my setup, it's going to be roughly set at about 10 turns. Remember, hearing 2 clicks is 1 turn. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are real interested in me sitting here spinning my dial. But we'll get to 10 and I'll check back in with you. Even if you have a simpler shock setup, similar to what's on like the Sportsters with just the 3, you know, you have 3 or 4 little adjustments. If you're used to riding around on, you know, setting 2 or maybe 1, maybe click it up a couple times for the additional weight that you're going to carry. Try it out. Just like that. The tour pack is on, the suspension is set, and we are ready to start loading this thing down. So I should say at this point that this video is not sponsored by anyone. I'm not an Amazon affiliate. I don't get anything if you click a link below, none of that kind of stuff. Everything that you're gonna see here I bought with my own money. I wasn't given anything. All of my opinions on this stuff are my own, and all the stuff that I'm showing you is pretty good, so nothing negative to say about it anyway. I am curious though. I am curious to see if what you guys have to say in the comments. If you know something better than what I got, or just kind of share with me what your setup is. Super interested in that. So I am going to go ahead and put some of this stuff in the description below, if it's available still. I know some of the stuff isn't, or it's out of stock. Not that old Jeff Bezos needs any more money, but if it helps one of you guys out to be more comfortable while you're out there camping, then that's cool with me, man. In fact, the only shameless plug I'm going to stick in here is not for myself. This is for my buddy Nick. He makes these really bitchin' handmade signs. All handmade, all hand routed, no CNC here. He did it all by hand. You can find him on Instagram. He's Nick's Neighbors, and he does some really cool stuff. The link to Nick's Instagram is going to be the first one in the description below. Awesome work. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it. All of this is going to go on that bike. I want to keep things kind of minimal for her on her bike. She is a new rider and she's just kind of getting used to this stuff. We do have to go through Walker Pass and some windy canyons, and she's not necessarily used to doing that kind of stuff, and so I want to keep the weight as low as possible on her bike. I'm going to get some of this stuff laid out and I'll show you what we got going on. Alright, so first up is my tent bag. Let's get this thing open and we'll show you what's up inside. Yeah, pretty much the little bags that the tents come in go straight in the trash for me. I just pick up a cheap duffel bag, and I usually end up throwing some extra stuff in here. And it's a lot easier to pack up when you're getting out of somewhere. Especially at these campouts, you know, by the time Sunday morning rolls around, you're just ready to get out of there. You don't want to be wrestling trying to stuff stuff back into the bag that the tent came with. So I would recommend picking up a cheap duffel bag and running with that. So let's see what we got in here. All right, I have a closed cell foam mat. This will help insulate you from the ground. You can put it under your sleeping pad. It helps keep you from putting holes in the bottom of the tent. You kind of walk in on this first and kick your shoes off. I got a simple tool roll here with some heavy duty tent stakes all wrapped up in here. I have the CRKT burler axe that I use to hammer those stakes in. You can also split wood with it. You can pry the stakes out with this. It's pretty versatile. These are poles for the tent, and a heavy duty tarp as a footprint to put underneath the tent. And then I have the tent itself. I'm not going to pull that out right now, but I'll show that to you as we set it up at Kernville. I really like the Alps mountaineering tent. It's I believe it's called the Camp Creek, and it's a 4-person tent. It fits a queen size air mattress, which I'll show you in a second. Like I said, I'll show you more of the setup once we're there. It's really well made. It came with steel tent poles, and just to save weight, I mean, obviously when I gone before, it was Lupe and I on the Road Glide, and I had this bag on top of the tour pack, so I was already far exceeding what should be on a tour pack anyway. But anyway, I got these aluminum poles, and this saved me quite a bit of weight. And they're still pretty sturdy. They're not as good as the ones that it came with, but I'm not camping in, you know, 40-50 mile an hour winds either, so should be pretty good with that stuff. Next up is the Interplex air mattress. This is a queen size air mattress. It's really comfortable. It's pretty durable. I've had other brands before and they've popped pretty much on the first trip out. I've had this one for, man, at least at least 7 or 8 trips, different trips, bouncing around on the motorcycle, in the tent, all kind of hot during the day, cold at nighttime. Holds its air pretty good, stays inflated, and it's never popped on me. You just pair that with a simple inflator, deflator, and you're good to go. It's pretty tough to beat. There's still plenty of room inside the tent with this in there. I still have about 3 feet in the tent on the other side of this air mattress, so plenty comfortable, plenty of space for Lupe and I, and it's one of those like real luxury items, having a big air mattress to be able to sleep on. You're not trying to fit onto a little tiny little pad or what have you. The only thing is, now that we're getting into October, it's starting to get a little colder at nighttime. Air mattresses don't really insulate you. They don't insulate you at all from the ground. So you got to get something underneath it, kind of encapsulate the air mattress in between, like 2 layers, maybe some of those mylar blankets underneath it, and a wool blanket over the top of this, and it'll help keep you a lot warmer. These are really good in summertime, but once it starts getting down temperatures into the fall and winter, these things get pretty uncomfortable sleeping on the ground that way. It's just something to be mindful about when you're using an air mattress once it starts to get cooler. I've never had a problem with this at Kernville Kampout. It's usually in the mid to high 50s at nighttime, so you're doing okay. That brings us to the wool blankets. So this one I got from a Civil War reenactment website. Not that I do that, I was just looking for a wool blanket. Super cool if you do. I respect all that kind of stuff. I like the history. This one is really good. It's a little thin, but it works pretty well. This is really good for insulating the mattress like I was talking about. And then I have this larger one that I got, this one off of Amazon. This one is made by a company called Rothco, and it's really good. Both of these are really warm. However, if you wash this and you dry this one not so much, but definitely this Rothco, this thing sheds like a 14-year-old dog. So be prepared to be cleaning your lint trap out multiple times while this sucker's drying. Next up is the sleeping bags. They're the Nature Hike, the LW180, and the LW180XL. This one is good for tall people. This one, you know, fits just about everybody else. These things pack down really small. They're convenient. You can almost fit them anywhere. So the tip with these are they need to loft up. So don't wait to pull this out at the end of the night. Pull this thing out when you first get there. Shake it out, let it fluff up with some air, let it really get lofted up, and these things will do pretty good. They're not the absolute warmest. I kind of use this as more of a quilt than a sleeping bag, because with as tall as I am, I don't really fit inside of them anyway. But these things are pretty good. This is a good, it kind of like the principle of layering up for the cold weather. You're gonna do the same thing with your blankets in a lightweight setup. I haven't found anything that beats these out yet, so if you know of something that's better, leave it in the comments below. Let me know. I'll check it out. Next up, we have our inflatable pillows. I have 2 from Trekology. These are large, and they're pretty comfortable. I have a Hike Nature, the ultralight pillows. We kind of started out with these were a little bit too small, went to the bigger ones. These ones are a lot more comfortable. Lupe likes to take out the small ones too, so she's extra comfy. Next up is one of those camping chairs with all the little pieces that kind of click together, made out of canvas. This one's made by Dwayne. Anyway, I haven't tried this thing out yet, but it's pretty comfy. I've sat around, you know, the house for a couple minutes in it. I won't really use this that much at Kernville Kampout, but I will definitely use this at Hakumba Breakdown. Hakumba Breakdown is in a wash. It's where they have you camp, and there's really no infrastructure. It's not really a campsite. There's no benches there, at least for the first one. Maybe it's going to be different. This is the second annual, so we'll see how that goes. But this year for Hakumba Breakdown, definitely bringing the chair. Next up, just a couple odds and ends things. Toilet paper is always a good idea to bring that. They have toilet paper there until they don't. So that's kind of a must-have. Some little wet wipes, some mosquito spray, just that kind of stuff is really good to have. It's the difference in being comfortable and uncomfortable, right? So, and that doesn't take up that much space. Next up is a collapsible ice chest. This little thing holds up to 50 cans, and yes, they do provide beer at Kernville Kampout. The beer is included in your ticket price. They only provide that beer from 5 until about 10 o'clock, or like they say, until supplies run out. So usually everybody will run over to the store, grab an 18 pack or whatever, and just have something to kind of sip on and relax during the day. The stores have those styrofoam ice chests, and that's what I've done the past few years. And there's just kind of like a sea of styrofoam ice chests out there. Not that I'm like too big into like environmental stuff, you know, tree hugging, but I mean, like, if you can avoid it, you know, and it's convenient, this is better, you know, because those things suck anyways. They barely hold an 18 pack and a cube of ice, you know. So this gives me more capacity. It's really, once again, you know, that's pretty thin. It's not going to take up much space. That could sit right on top of the rack and you wouldn't even know it's there. This is my electronics bag. I have rechargeable headlamps in there. These I did get on Amazon. These are super bright, man. There's a thing at Kernville Kampout where everybody likes to rev up their motorcycle at nighttime, and I started messing with those security guard guys just by turning this thing on and holding it low. They thought it was a motorcycle headlight kicking on, so that'll tell you how bright they are. These little guys are great. I forget who makes these, but these are battery packs, and this thing is awesome. This thing lasts so long. This will keep your cardo charged up. It keeps my camera batteries nice and topped up, keep my cell phone running, and that's all off of one. Kernville Kampout is a Friday, Saturday kind of deal, come home on Sunday. So for 2 days, this thing has never let me down. I got a rechargeable tent light for the top of the tent. This is nice and convenient too. You're wearing a headlamp in there. It'll work, you know what I mean? But you end up blinding, you know, your significant other. So you'll notice that I didn't have any kind of coffee maker. I didn't have anything to cook with. I'm not bringing any food with me. That's because this isn't real camping. This is a camp out. This is a big motorcycle camp out. Basically, all you need to do is figure out how you can be comfortable sleeping on the ground. And that's it. They provide the food. Like I said, you're in town. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of places to go get coffee in the morning. Restaurants all around. The ice chest comes in handy. Maybe pick up one of those epic sandwiches from the Sierra Gateway store there, and have like a little midnight snack, get some chips, you know, stuff like that. But basically that's it. We are going to put some heavy duty blankets in her duffel bag, just in case it does get cold. Not really anticipating that for this one too much, like I said, but by about the 3rd week of October, that's when Hakumba Breakdown is, the temperature does change quite a bit. I'm going to start getting all this stuff packed up onto the bike. I'm going to see if I can fit my cowboy hat into this whole setup this year. And we'll go from there. Like I said, man, this is a luxury type setup. This especially when you see my tent. We're not roughing it. So if you're kind of being held back, you know, maybe camping is a little bit intimidating for you, you know, moto camping, you know, whatever, try one of the campouts. You know, most of this stuff is already there for you, and you just really need to figure out your setup to be comfortable sleeping on the ground. It's kind of easy. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with the way that I'm doing this? Do you disagree? Do you have a better idea than I do? Do you know of something that I don't? Because I am always open to figure out something to be more comfortable, or maybe something a little bit more lightweight. Um, I kind of would like to get away from the air mattress thing, but so far I haven't found anything that is more comfortable. I found things that are much more lightweight and much more insulated, but they're not as comfortable. So hit up the comments below and let me know what you guys think. And just like that, everything is all packed up. Other than the duffel bag on there, nothing else is really out of place. I mean, I'll put my clothes in one of the saddlebags and ready to roll. Can't wait.